We're doing good. Good morning with Be Live. We need an actual theme song, folks. Welcome to Remso Republic Live. If you're with us on this Monday morning, I'm sorry I'm waking you up this early if you get the automatic announcements because you're following the page. If anything, I mean, what's a better Monday morning than with the Remso Republic Live? One thing I do want to throw out there is if you want to go ahead and submit a theme song or anything, go ahead and email producer. That's just producer at remsorepublic.com. We'll go ahead and try and get something for the live show coming up. But other than that, it's another awesome Monday. What a better way to start your week? We had a lot of craziness, not just last week to cover, but we had a lot of strange occurrences, at least here in Virginia and around the world over the weekend. But let's go ahead and bring on our Monday guest as usual, ladies and gentlemen, Tim Preuss from the Tim Preuss Podcast. Tim, what's up?
You know, we were talking before the show started, and we were saying, man, this is just way too early. And if it's early for you, it's an hour earlier for me, you know? So I'm just like, you know, I'm still wiping the sleep out of my eyes, but I'm doing really well.
Don't people in Wisconsin just wake up naturally because you've got to go make cheese, make sure that Scott Walker's happy. There's not much for you guys to do there anyway.
Yeah, I used to wake up early to milk the cows and feed the chickens and the pigs and all of that, but not so much anymore. No, it's a pretty small number of people that actually live on farms, even though we have. We're kind of known for milk and cheese and all of that stuff.
Yeah. So, Tim, we've got a lot to cover this morning. We've got about 30 minutes. I want to go ahead and kind of start things off. We had, here's my favorite thing because I'm a comic book nerd. Wonder Woman came out. I saw it yesterday with Juliana, folks. Definitely go see Wonder Woman. I was not expecting it to be as good because I have really low standards for the DC films, even though I'm one of those few people that thinks that Batman versus Superman Dawn of Justice was good. Wonder Woman was just absolutely butt-kicking awesomeness. Go see it. Gal Gadot is amazing. But here's the scandal, Tim. Last week, a whole bunch of independently run theaters were going around basically just holding female-only showings to show, women empowerment, fight the patriarchy, feminism. And now, since they all went to go see the movie first by making sure none of the men could go see it, now they're attacking Gal Gadot because she's an ex-IDF soldier. And Lebanon has banned the film. A whole bunch of women are just going around attacking stuff. I mean, you can't win. And even when they want to win on something, they go ahead and just make their whole cause look absolutely stupid because they constantly have to nitpick.
Their whole cause is absolutely stupid. What is their cause? We don't really know, what women are treated unfairly. I think that's 100% just bull. Women are treated so much better than men. I mean, if you have a guy friend, how do you treat him as compared to a girlfriend? Not a girlfriend as in one you're dating, but a female friend. I treat my girlfriends far better than I treat my guy friends. They get the door held open for them. They get more drinks bought for them. And everyone likes them, but the guys, you just kind of, they don't get treated so nicely. And it doesn't even have anything with, us trying to get in their pants or anything like that. It's just for whatever reason, naturally, men like to be chivalrous and they like to treat women well. So I don't know exactly what women are complaining about. I mean, even throughout history, what are the worst jobs out there? Throughout history, the dangerous, bad jobs are jobs that only men had, and the women got to stay home. They were safe. It's I'm not saying that they had to stay home or that they should, but if you take, let's see, do you want to be out hunting animals that might kill you, or do you want to stay home and play with the kids? I'd take play with the kids. It's a much easier job. It's a much safer job. So there really is nothing for feminists to complain about. And now with this Wonder Woman thing, it's do you want her to be awesome or not? Wonder Woman as a character, as a superhero, as a fantasy is wonderful. And then they find out that she used to work for the Israeli military, and which is a real superwoman in like the real world, and they have a problem with it.
Yeah, like if you want to talk about just female empowerment, I mean, I've never even seen it as, just female empowerment. I don't even understand third wave feminism and what they're going at, because the mission and the goals and the criteria and the principles, they change every week. But when you look at, Gal Gadot and you look at Wonder Woman, let's look at this woman. Grew up in Israel, former IDF soldier. Then she becomes a supermodel because she's scorching hot. Next thing you know, she's in the Fast and Furious franchise, and now she's Wonder Woman. And she did that in an area of the world where, one, she's a woman, and in that part of the world, they're a little bit backwards. Then she goes and makes it in Hollywood. I mean, she's an incredibly intelligent woman. If you want to talk about just somebody that's independently strong, they couldn't have found a better actress for the role. And now I can't curse because it's Be Live. I want the Zuckerberg to take me out. But the moment they want to start complaining, it's like you said, they just. Do you think feminists actually hate women?
Yes, I think they do. If you find a strong woman who is independent, that's a problem. And I don't mean independent from men. I mean independent from being told what they can and can't do. In feminism's eyes, it seems like women actually are weak and held down, and they are the victims. Gal Gadot never had that mentality. She wasn't going to let anyone make her a victim. She went out there and made her own. She made her own way, and she's wildly successful for it. And but she didn't embrace really feminism going through her life. So that's what they have a problem with. Feminists aren't for women. They're for feminists. The same way Black Lives Matter isn't for Black lives. They're for only Black lives that are, killed by cops. There's only certain people that fall into their loopholes. Liberals aren't for gays. They're for gay liberals. That's why they don't like Milo Yiannopoulos, because he's gay, but he's a conservative. So it has nothing to do with like sticking up for all women. It has to do with sticking up for feminism.
Exactly. I mean, it just goes back to the liberal plantation mentality. But it's absolutely ridiculous. It's like, I had a professor who, back at Liberty years back, he had run for state senate in Maryland, and he ran up against a longtime Democrat, and he constantly got crap from people because he's a Black conservative. Don't look at the fact that he was one of the first Black conservatives to run in that district. Don't look at the fact that he's an incredibly accomplished man. Now it's time to go after him because he's a sellout. He's an Uncle Tom. He's all of this stuff. Just the vitriol and the hate. I mean, it's turned into just a straight up culture of hate. There's no way to beat around it. That's what it has turned to in its essence.
Yeah, so. And I think that's why ultimately things like, they kind of the Black Lives Matter or the militant LGBT community or just kind of third wave, ugly, mean feminism. That's why those things are ultimately going to fail, is because they're based on hate. And at the end of the day, no one wants to fall asleep with a bunch of hateful thoughts in their head. They want to have nice thoughts. Feminism isn't filled with nice thoughts. It's an ugly way to look at the world.
Did anyone ever complain when, after Bruce Jenner became a chick, he won the Women of the Year award? Because if I were if I were a feminist, I'd be complaining that a man got the #1 Woman of the Year award for ESPN or whatever. I mean, it just like right there, that's showing that men are better women than women in their world if they want to go at it that way.
Right. Yeah. But it depends on where you are in the pecking order. Like, times have changed. It used to be like special rights groups were, gays. They're pretty victimized. Women, blacks. But right now, like way up there are the trannies. Trannies are like the big victim group, and so you can't criticize Caitlyn Jenner even if you're a feminist.
I'm surprised. Honestly. Like there were a bunch of people lobbying for Wonder Woman to be portrayed by a black actress. And I'm still surprised to this day they haven't been trying to push, oh, we should make a transvestite Wonder Woman. We should, like, in the comics, they're already gender swapping, race baiting everybody. It's like, it's just like, it falls apart in and of itself. It's, yeah.
I don't, you think, I mean, the problem with making a black Wonder Woman is that Wonder Woman isn't black. Like, in the comics, she's
but
not
they're going to say
portrayed
she
as
was written by a bunch of white men back in the day where women were still in the kitchen, Tim. That's going to be the claim. Now we need to come in and liberate her, make her black.
But black people are victims, so I wouldn't want to make her black because that would make her a victim. I'd rather keep her this.
Are you saying because she's a black woman, she's a victim? And because she's on an island and the white Steve Trevor has to come take her back to the West?
Yes. I am saying all black people are victims, and all women are victims, and all transvestites are victims. And I don't even know that, is it transsexual, transgender,
watch your words. Watch your words.
I don't know what they actually want to be called, you know, like, and we're now coming up with like 70 plus different genders and things. I
like what Patton Oswalt said, and he's a hardcore progressive. At one point, he's like, "Listen, I support feminism and I support LGBTQ rights, but how can I, as a white cisgender male, support you when you guys are changing the code language every week, and then I get in trouble?"
Right. Yeah, how can you bother to even start a movement like that? Like, there's a lot of people out there that are very tolerant. Like, I don't care how someone is sexually or whatever. It's not an issue for me at all. But I'm more struck with confusion, you know, and I'm in my 20s. So if you're like a 50-year-old white guy, you're going to be really confused. And when you're that old, then instead of just getting confused, you get angry. You know, that's the way old people are. They're a little touchier. And
that's how the Unabomber happens.
And that's how the Unabomber happens.
Speaking of Unabombers and crazy conspiracies, I want to hit our next topic. Folks, I am sorry, especially if you're part of the Remso Republic Nation fan group where I was teasing you all weekend. Bilderberg 2017 happened 15 minutes away from my house, Tim. And I did not go investigate it.
Well, it's probably because you're in on it.
Cut the feed, Ryan.
Wait, I was like, oh no, did it actually, like, yeah, you got me. Well done. Yeah, well, here's the thing about Bilderberg is that a lot of the people who oppose, you know, the Bilderbergs or whatever sort of like New World Order they think is going on, they're also somewhat libertarian, you know, like they want maximum liberty for the individual. But they seem to have a disconnect where, like, the reason I don't want government or central planning is because I realize central planning doesn't work. And I realize that, like, as Hayek said, there's knowledge is widely dispersed, and you can't just have like a small group of people trying to run a whole economy. But then they give this awesome power to the Bilderbergs, like they are somehow running the whole world. Like, what are you talking? How could the Bilderbergs run the whole world? We have a Department of Education that can't run our schools. That's a whole department, you know? So I think they attribute a little bit too much power to the Bilderbergs. I'm not sure exactly what they talk about. It's always secret. But I do because I knew we were going to be talking about this, I of course typed in Bilderberg. I'm like, oh no. And a bunch of the stuff from InfoWars popped up. I'm like, oh, you know, and they're stating things as if this is what is being said at the meetings, but we don't know what's being said at the meetings. I mean, that's how good conspiracies are, is they're just filled with doubt and confusion. No one knows. So then strange, paranoid humans start coming up with all these bizarre ideas. And if there was a small group of people who were trying to control the world, control all of the banks and control all the technology, they would fail. Because small groups of people do not have the knowledge that a whole population does. And the only way you can effectively use all that knowledge is through the free market. The Bilderbergs will fail, even if they actually are trying to take over the world.
Exactly. And, just as a full disclaimer, I was a teenage info warrior. As a young libertarian, it's like heroin for the conspiratorial soul. But with me, it's not the fact that, something is going on at Bilderberg. It's the fact that Bilderberg actually exists. And to Alex Jones' credit, I don't give him credit often, for years, people were denying the existence of it. Phyllis Schlafly from the Eagle Forum, and she wrote a Shout Not an Echo, a conservative manifesto. For years, she was saying that this thing existed, and the mainstream media was like, oh, it's fake, it's fake, it's fake. It wasn't until not even a decade ago where people were like, yeah, this is actually real. And now it's gotten to the point where it's just, you have the Antifa. I'm not surprised they weren't there, but for the real diehards that are just morons, I'm surprised they didn't even bother showing up, because it is the ultimate collusion between business and government. That is in itself fascism to a large degree. And for at least America's founding, we have always been a country that was anti-secret society. And this is almost the biggest secret society. They're not, going full Bohemian Grove, holding giant fake sacrifices and stuff in robes. But it's another thing where you see the technocrats getting together and they're planning out things. I don't know if they're planning things out or giving each other a giant, courtesy reminder of what they have planned. You can either join in or opt out. But it's one thing I'm glad is that it got more coverage this year than apparently it ever has before. And, producer Ryan and I almost went to check it out with a friend of ours, but they closed off a majority of the road. There was security everywhere. We wouldn't have been able to get anything. And anything you could get would probably be higher quality of InfoWars. So at that point, it's like, okay, I'm just wasting my time. I could go there and be part of it, but I'm just wasting my time at that point. But, are you upset that Bilderberg exists at all, or is it just fallen into the whole, it's just a conspiracy, it's just a bunch of rich people getting together, we should just ignore it?
I don't really have a problem with it. I mean, if we start, it's because there's nothing to really know. Like, how are we going to say, well, they're doing something evil? We don't know. It might just be a lot of guys that have influence from around the world that are getting together to talk, not to even plan, but just to kind of pick each other's brains and say, hey, what are you seeing in your industry? That's interesting. Maybe that will help me adjust, in the future to changing markets or, so we don't, I guess I'm one of the people who, if there isn't anything that is absolutely wrong that's going on, I just have to take them at their word. And their word is, we get together and we talk about the world. We talk about world events. We share ideas. And that's all the information we have, And they're not even all that powerful. I mean, it's like, I actually caught it. It was a few months ago. But Anonymous hacked the Bilderberg website. And they replaced, because Bilderberg has a website and says, where are we going, to have the meeting this year, who's invited, just kind of some basic information about the group. And for whatever reason, I was just like, I want to see who's going this year or who went last year. And the website was down, and I took a screenshot of it, and Anonymous had just taken down their website and replaced it with a message saying, you Bilderbergers, we're coming for you, and don't try to mess with us, that kind of thing, which I got a kick out of. But, I mean, they're not even a match for Anonymous. Their website gets taken down by freaking a 400-pound hacker sitting on his bed.
Yeah. The only reason, and I promise, I'm not a giant conspiracy guy, but I just have kind of a chip on my shoulder about this. The only reason why I've ever, given this some thought is because I still go back to 2007. During the Democratic primaries, when candidate Clinton and candidate Obama, they both go in, and only one nominee walks out. And within a couple of hours, Hillary is announcing she's stepping down, and Barack Obama is the Democratic nominee. For anything like that to happen, and in politics, the party bosses, the backroom deals, everything, that stuff happens. But the fact that it happened there, it's like I'm just a little bit curious. What actually was able to convince Hillary Clinton, the woman that's still blaming everyone but herself for her loss, to step down to somebody who's a political nobody? who ended up becoming our president?
I don't know. I mean,
she's my brain.
Yeah, she may have been having a lot of influence thrown her way just from her normal staffers and pollsters and things like that. But then she went to talk with some people who have a much different perspective, and they were able to maybe throw out some ideas about, wait a minute, if you're the nominee, it's much more risky that the Democrats will lose. So why don't you let Barack in? He'll put you on. He'll put you in some sort of high position. You can use that on your resume, and then you can run in 8 years. And maybe she thought, well, I hadn't thought about it that way, but okay. Who knows? Who knows? But it's just a secret, and everything. All we're talking about is speculation. We don't know. So you'll have to ask Hillary and try to get a straight answer out of her.
True, and we know that's never going to happen. It's like at this point, she could retire. She could just go on vacation. She can literally get away with murder. Instead, she's going around still blaming everyone for her loss. And I know we're not really talking about Hillary Clinton, but I just really get a kick out of seeing her complain.
Yeah, but it's not even unique to her. John Kerry couldn't admit that he lost. Al Gore couldn't admit that he lost.
It's just her specifically, because John Kerry, he's an elitist POS, but I don't think he's a hateful person who's been accused of murder and multiple felonies. And Al Gore, when I see Al Gore on the news, I still think of, the man bear pig Al Gore from South Park. It's like you just want to go around and give him a hug and say, climate change isn't there, Al, but we can go find man bear pig together.
Right.
I'm super, super serial about this.
Yeah. I like Al Gore. I think he's hilarious. I kind of want to bring back some of the old school Democrats. These new guys are no fun. I'd rather have Al Gore than, just to talk to, because he has such a great personality,
I would have loved, honestly, I was putting money on the fact that he could possibly be the dark horse candidate that comes in and steals the nomination from Hillary. He can come in with his homeless person beard and be like, I have returned with the secret of man bear pig and climate change, America, and together we could stop the global greenhouse man bear pig pollutants together. Gosh. And then he becomes president with Joe Biden as VP, because there's nothing to say that he can't be VP more than once. Or maybe there is. Speculation.
I don't know about that. I guess
irregardless, it could have happened. It could have happened. The Democrats would have been like, screw it, just do it. More Uncle Joe and Man Bear Pig.
Yeah, more like Joe. We should have their lineup this last time around was so sad. Hillary was basically a shoo-in, and then the next closest thing was Bernie Sanders, and it's he's not even a Democrat. And if we had Howard Dean back, that would be awesome. If we brought
that guy, exactly. That guy,
yes, bring him back. He was so much fun. Bring back Al Gore. These old throwbacks. I want to see him one last time. But
oh gosh,
I don't think that complaining about losing is something that's unique to Hillary or even Democrat politicians, but just liberals in general. I mean, these are the kind of people who grew up and got a trophy just for playing the game, and the game didn't keep score, and they were taught that you're special and you're wonderful and there's no one like you, and that's the kind of mentality they have. So when something bad happens, they have a lot of trouble accepting it, and they want to blame everyone else but themselves. But in my state, you know how many times Hillary stopped in my state during the general election?
Once.
No.
0.
Yeah, she stopped here once during the primary, running against Bernie. Then Bernie had such a strong lead that she just said, screw it, and she left, and Bernie took the state in the primary.
I know that Walker... that Walker won his recall election and everything else, but there's still a large Democrat presence in Wisconsin. And I mean, the unions are very strong there, even though it's a right to work state. Now, I would have thought that I'm still I'm actually shocked that she never went there. I thought that would have been in play for her at some point. Did Wisconsin end up going for Hillary anyway?
No, it went for Trump.
It went for Trump.
The first time it went for a Republican, I think since Reagan. Or maybe
because I know in 2012 and 2008 it went Democrat, because Paul Ryan, he won his congressional race again, but Romney lost Wisconsin. So that's That's odd. That's odd.
Yeah, I live in a red state now.
Odd enough.
Yeah, I mean, but give it like a couple decades, and Texas will be a blue state. So, I mean, demographics change, and we have a lot of like manufacturing here, and Trump spoke to manufacturers, and people say I used to have a good factory job, and now it's gone. Like Milwaukee, along with Chicago, used to have a lot of manufacturing for the entire country, and they don't. And a lot of people still remember that. And who spoke to that? Donald Trump did. Hillary Clinton didn't. She didn't even come here and she didn't even visit. Like, how are you going to win? Or not? I mean, she just took her voters for granted. That's what it was. She took the nomination for granted, which she got, and then she took the presidency for granted. She thought that this is just, I don't have to even try. She took weeks off of campaigning. Weeks. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is doing 6. Big conventions or whatever, rallies, 6 of those in a day.
In her defense, and I never come to Hillary Clinton's defense, she had walking pneumonia for like a month.
That's what they say.
It could have been the fact that she malfunctioned and they had to hire the body double that went out and did like a dance on the streets of New York and then went back, and somehow she's like zombified but still alive. Yeah.
Yeah. They had to
Bohemian Grove, 9/11.
They had to replace her with a different robot. New Hillary robot.
Speaking of taking things for granted, I want to go ahead and jump to our last topic. Actually, you know what? Forget that. We're going to push that a little bit. Old school Democrats. If you had to create like the Democrat Expendables and put them on the island where they have to fight a terrorist cartel organization to survive, who would your 5 Democrats be?
How old school is old school? Just
however
not
you want. However you want.
Oh, gosh. Best Democrats?
Okay, so we think Al Gore and Howard Dean.
Yeah.
Joe Biden, so that leaves you 2.
Bill Clinton. He has to be on there. And
you'd be like the Hannibal of their A-team. Yeah. I could see that. Okay, so we've got 4.
They need to keep him chained up so he doesn't go around, harassing women. He just can't help himself.
It's all about survival. They're part of the enemy. We loot, we pillage, we win. We win. And
I guess I wouldn't mind seeing Russ Feingold back, because he is from Wisconsin and he is a throwback. Yeah.
Is he the guy in the movies that dies first?
Yes. Yeah. Because
if this was the Suicide Squad, if this was the Democrat Suicide Squad, he's the guy that's like, hey, we can escape now. And it's like, that'd be him.
He's the worst. He in 2010, this is what Democrats do in my state. They keep trying and keep failing. Like Scott Walker beat Tom Barrett, who was the mayor of Milwaukee. He beat him for the governorship in 2010. And then they did a recall and they used Tom Barrett to try to go up against him. Didn't work. Then they ran him again and they tried to get Tom Barrett in and he lost again. And Ron Johnson came in and he kicked Russ Feingold out in 2010. And then this last time around, guess who challenges Johnson? Russ Feingold. Again, like these guys just can't help themselves. They want to get back in. They want to have that power again. And
it's like a bad WWE match.
Yeah, but at least in WWE, like they go back and forth. Like this is just Republicans in Wisconsin are just whooping Democrats' asses left and right year after year.
True. Okay, we've got to jump to our last topic. Everyone's been covering the London attack. I don't want to just go ahead and reiterate it point by point, but I saw one story that really kind of restored my hope in humanity. Like if you're about to jump off a bridge, but you're watching this live stream, hang on just a few more seconds because this might save your life. But there's a picture of this guy running away from the scene, and in one hand, he has a full pint of beer. And as everyone around him is just sprinting, he's just kind of like slowly trotting, but the beer doesn't move. It doesn't spill. Not a drop leaves the pint. And now that man is essentially the symbol of, the British spirit. That really.
I'd be like, hold on.
I'd be sprinting.
Don't stab me. But if you're going to, let me have my beer first. That's awesome. I hadn't seen that picture. I'll have to Google it or something. That's pretty.
I want to bring up the picture real fast. I gotta bring this up because this is too good not to bring up. It's I mean seriously, everyone's running around, and this guy is just kind of there. And let me see, where is it? Okay, let's make this work.
Nice.
Yeah, that man is like.
He's the hero.
He's not the hero we deserve. He's the hero we need.
Yes.
In all travesty, in the worst parts of the human soul that go out and conduct terrible things like this, just pure acts of evil, it's amazing how one man who refused to put down his drink. Do you think the bar owners are going to get mad that he took their glass?
I'm sure he'll bring it back. Those Brits are very upstanding citizens. So
it looked like I was stealing it, but I decided to bring it back to you because I need a refill.
Well, I guess what was he doing outside with his beer? Like, did they just?
I mean, everyone was. Everyone
walk around.
I think he got it filled up, and then everyone's like, "There's a terrorist attack. You need to, GTFO out of the area," and he was like. Not without my pint.
Right, I just got it. Yeah, they have inflation over there. That's an expensive beer.
It's like $20 in American money.
Right, and I wouldn't put a beer down if it was worth $20.
Even if it is room temperature, because it's England.
Yeah, that's something that is really a problem with England. I mean, there are a lot of things that you don't like about England. We don't like them because we're just American and we're better. And we kind of have a storied past with them. But they also like room temperature beer. That's just wrong. It needs to be stopped. And I wish Donald Trump would take this issue more seriously because it causes a great divide between our countries. And I think it leads to Britain overall being a weaker country. Their people could benefit from cold beer.
I mean, how can we have like a serious conversation with them if they were to bring us a warm beer? In our culture, Tim, that's how you start a war with somebody. Right.
That's how you start fisticuffs. Like, how dare you? This is an insult to me. But
it's crazy, and I know we got to wrap things up. I've just got a quick story. I know St. Patrick's Day is not a British holiday; it's an Irish holiday, but the Brits love it too. Everyone loves it. But growing up in a Puerto Rican family, I was just always convinced that St. Patrick's Day was a Puerto Rican holiday with the amount of drinking that happened.
You thought that St. Patrick's Day was a Puerto Rican holiday?
Puerto Rican holiday, yeah.
Oh.
Puerto Ricans go crazy over St. Patrick's Day. Then again, they'll find any excuse to drink.
Well, yeah, I mean, I do too. I mean, I'm a kraut, but I'll still go out and wear green. Drink too much green beer and puke up green vomit on St. Patrick's Day. So, but I don't assume that it's a German holiday. Germans don't need a holiday to drink. We just drink.
Just drink, just to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Tim, if people want to tune into the show you've got going on today and for the rest of the week and check out PreussPodcast.com, how could they do so? I just gave the link. My bad.
Yeah, I know. You can just go to PreussPodcast.com, or you can subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher. We also broadcast, I think every night it's at 11 Eastern time. So it's for the Red Eye folks on Red Nation Rising Radio. But we just recorded today's podcast and tomorrow's podcast yesterday morning. And
what were you talking about today?
We talk about the London attack. My take on it was that.
So you didn't talk about the pint guy.
No.
Okay, good. So you get a whole new perspective by going to PreussPodcast.com and downloading today's episode.
Yeah. Encourage people to do so. It both today and tomorrow's podcast turned out really, really well.
Awesome stuff, man. Anyway, take care, Tim. Catch you later.
Absolutely.
Okay, folks, we're going to wrap it up. Just want to let you know that, Fanboys and Freedom Volume 2 starts this Friday. We've got Fight Club. Definitely check that out on the Facebook page. Our sponsors, Lions of Liberty and Libertarian League Media, will also be sharing it. Then you can also find this on YouTube at the Remso Republic page if you want to watch it there. Additionally, I want to go ahead and mention our update to our Patreon program. Last night, we went ahead and dropped our episode, which was the Alex Jones satire episode. We're up to 4 pledgers. Let's just go ahead and keep this going because we can just, we try and give out as much free content because, I don't believe in any unequal exchange. So you give us something to help Team Republic keep going. I want to give you something to really kind of help you, just show us that we appreciate you. We really do appreciate you. But what we have for our next Patreon exclusive episode is something we're calling Haunted Republic. Ryan, can you bring up Haunted Republic? Or is it already on there and I just can't see it? Okay, it's on there and I just can't see it. There's a lag, folks, sometimes. Haunted Republic is something we're doing just for Patreon exclusive pledgers. If you know us over at Team Republic, we're giant sci-fi and paranormal nerds. And what we're doing to kind of vary up the lineup is we're going to go on paranormal investigations, ghost hunts. We're going to go to the scary, dark, and spooky places so you don't have to. And the first Patreon exclusive episode is Juliana from our health and lifestyle blog going on a trip with me in the middle of the night in the Clifton Forest outside Old Town Clifton to Buddy Man Bridge. And we have the whole thing up at www.patreon.com/Remso Republic. You can go ahead and see the preview for that first edition of Haunted Republic. And it's only $2 a month, folks. $2 a month. You get so much free stuff. You get Skype or Google Hangout with me. You get so many new sneak peeks, discounts from our sponsors, exclusive episodes like that. The Alex Jones one. Now we have Haunted Republic, which is part of the Patreon exclusive lineup. You throw away $2 in pocket change alone, you might as well help us fight fake news and keep making freedom great again. But that's it, folks. Definitely tune in tomorrow. We've got a special guest tomorrow, right, Ryan? Who is it? We've got somebody on tomorrow. We'll go ahead and tweet that out later. Anyway, folks, as always, I'm Remso W. Martinez with Remso Republic Live. Tune in every Monday. Check out Tim Preuss from the Tim Preuss Podcast, and I'll see you later.